you for tuning in. This is Nadeem. You're watching Empire Diaries. The history of the US is written in the blood spilled by hundreds of thousands of black people. We all know about many dark stories. But now we will tell you a story from history that is just too dark to talk about. It goes back to the late 1800s and the early 1900s. At that time, there was a widely accepted trend in the US. It was a disgusting trend. White people used to openly use black babies as baits for hunting alligators. The hunters were usually white men. This is how it worked. Alligator hunters used to snatch away babies from African slave families. After that, they took the babies to swampy grasslands full of dangerous reptiles. They used to teasingly display the babies as baits for the hungry alligators. Just imagine that. Smelling fresh food, when the reptiles dashed towards the babies to eat them alive, the hunters would at that moment shoot the reptiles dead from a safe distance. They didn't care if the babies survived the encounter. In many cases, the reptiles killed the babies while getting shot by the hunters. If the babies survived, they were handed back to their parents, who were given a fee for renting them out. Black babies were called pickaninnies in popular US culture at that time. They were treated as expendable. So-called educated and cultured Americans didn't complain about it. The local authorities were okay with it. The obnoxious practice was a non-issue among white Americans. In fact, newspapers used to run advertisements about offers for hunters to hire black babies to use them as alligator baits. Postcards, posters, and memorabilia celebrating alligator baits were sold and circulated. This whole racist episode is well documented. The Washington Times published an article on 3rd June 1908 under the headline "Bait Alligators with Pickaninnies." In the article, the reporter wrote, "Zoo specimen coaxed to summer quarters by plump little Africans." Note the kind of words used by the newspaper to describe black kids taken away from their parents. Plump little Africans. The report says black children were used as pawns to lure the animals out in the open so that they could be seen by people during the summer. Notice the language again as used in the report. Two small colored children happened to drift through the reptile house. The zookeeper pressed them into service. And the reptiles had an Epicurean fondness for the black man. A few years later, on 21st September 1923, the Oakland Tribune reported Pickaninny bait lures voracious alligator to death and mother gets her baby back in perfect condition and for $2. In October 1919, something equally disturbing was recorded. The Richmond Times published a nasty joke about alligator babies. It wrote, "We understand that the Florida authorities are going to prohibit the use of live pickaninnies as alligator bait. They say they've got to do something to check the rapid disappearance of the alligator through indigestion." The filthy joke was titled "Game Protection." In January 1922, a Minnesota newspaper called the New Ulm Review published an article on the Brown County Fair. In the piece, the reporter wrote that an alligator chasing a black child is one of many attractions and beautiful designs during the fireworks at the fair. On 21st January 1888, a London-based newspaper called The Graphic published a set of illustrations on alligator baits. Due to the popularity of this inhuman tradition in the US at that time, the term alligator bait became a slur towards all Africans and African Americans. The US-based Ferry State University's website has some examples of this trend. The New York Times also wasn't left behind. In 1917, it published a review article on toys. It wrote, "In view of the improved call for stuffed boy and girl Negro dolls, the alligator bait is expected to have a big run." The New York Times news report is titled "Outlook for Toys." The US is the biggest empire of our times, and it thinks it's the most progressive one. Whenever a US president lectures the world on freedom, equality, and human rights, remember this dark history about alligators and black babies. For more such stories, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Press the bell icon and press all notifications so that you don't miss a single report when we publish it. We are on Facebook and on Twitter. Follow us and drop your comments. Let us know what you think about our work. You may WhatsApp us at 98210-45739. I repeat, the number is 98210-45739. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, stay informed.